Hello, fellow filmophiles. Are you frequenting the media platforms looking for that next special podcast that'll get you in the mood or find you the right movie to watch for your special night? Well, guess what? You should check out Torn Reels with Andy as the host and his brother Sean as the co-host. You can never go wrong with whatever subject they bring up next. Wake up, bitches. It's Saturday, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Our Corner, the only podcast that can't... I'm your host, Aaron, and with me today is the main man himself.
What's going on, guys? It's Sean.
So, just some exciting news, Sean. Ready? Check this out. Jason's getting his own universe.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Friday the 13th one?
Yeah, the Friday the 13th one. Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
And I just want to kind of know and feel this one out with you.
Sure.
Where do you sit on the fence with this whole Jason universe?
I actually like it. The way they're structuring it, or from what I've heard, the way they're structuring it and everything, I actually like the way it's set up, the way it's gonna go. They're starting off with this show called Camp Crystal Lake.
Yeah, that's supposed to be like a prequel.
Kind of. It's supposed to be like a prequel. It shows how the camp was done, shows Jason as a kid, and it's supposed to show the mom going on a killing spree, and then leading into the events of number 1, and then on season 2 or season 3, from what they said, it's supposed to be the events leading into Jason, like the pre-kills before he gets all the other campers before they reopen. Because remember, there was a time where it was closed during the events of number 1 and number 2.
That's right. And people were still going there getting murdered.
And some people were going there just to sneak in and see the legend and all that shit and all that stuff.
So the real question lies is this going to be a reboot? Is this going to be like they're adding on to additional canon? Or is this going to be its own thing entirely?
Well, from what I saw, it's supposed to be they're taking the crux of the story, the original story, where it's, disabled kid, the mom that seeks vengeance, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Don't have sex while you're teenagers or young adults, whatever. Who listens to that?
There's no moral to that actual story. It's just don't pick on retards, I guess.
Because you're telling me not to put it in when I was that young, bro. Come on, please. Anyway,
why am I listening to you?
Yeah, bro. When have you ever benefited my life? Anyway, the point is, it's supposed to take that same crux, but it's supposed to change the story a little bit. So it's not going to be the same congruent story that we're used to. It's going to be a little off of canon. So It's going to be just a little different.
Okay. Now the company that is what concerns me. It's Horror Inc. Okay.
That company concerns everybody.
It really does, because they own a lot of the properties for a lot of the horrors. They're a really big name in the horror industry. What kind of concerns me about them isn't that they're oh my God, they're such a terrible company. It's that, is this going to be something that they're honestly working on because they love the series, or is this going to be a shameless cash grab?
I think just because that they announced it early and said, hey, this is going to be completely not tethered to the original story, I think that they're actually working on it. I think that it's something that they're actually going into, because how many times have we seen prequels, sequels, show renditions of all these things, like Star Wars, like Dune, because that shit's horrible,
like Nurse Ratched,
yeah, with fucking, what is it, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest,
It was One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Came out in the 70s, the early 70s.
Dude, who fucking cares? Anyway, the point is,
it was old enough that Jack Nicholson was young.
Damn, that's really old. That's really fucking old. Anyway, but this, it's supposed to be we've seen so many people do the sequels and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden when they get bad backlash, they're like, oh, by the way, it's not canon. Oh, it's another story entirely. It's our own rendition, and these guys are
Elseworlds. It's their alternates. That's what I really don't like. I don't like when companies do multiverses, universes, and stuff like that, because of the fact that it gives them the ability, if they do something bad, to be like, hey, you know what? That's just our take on it. In reality, This is what's canon.
And I think these guys, by saying it up front, hey, this is nothing going to be the same as the original story. It's going to be different, but we're going to keep the crux. The main aspects are going to be there. Everything else is going to be completely different.
Because here's the thing: if you don't know too much about the Friday the 13th or the Jason comics, they're not really in its own canon. They are kind of their own stories. There's some where Jason meets Leatherface. You've seen the ones where it's Friday the 13th and Freddy Krueger versus Evil Dead, you know?
Right.
So it's like you get a lot of these already not canon events. So is it like, are you going to add to those not canon events and just kind of stockpile and double down on the bullshit? Or are you going to pretty much be like, hey, if it works, it's canon?
Hey, hold on a tick. Freddy versus Jason is canon.
Oh, no, Freddy versus Jason is canon. I'm
I
talking,
was like,
there's a comic book out there.
oh, okay. I thought
That's
you were like
Freddy
Freddy versus
versus-
Jason was not. I was like, it totally is.
Freddy versus Jason versus Evil Dead is
Yeah.
a comic book that came out. And it's not a bad comic, actually. A lot of the comics that these horror comics come out with, they're not bad storylines.
They're not bad.
They're actually really entertaining.
They had
It's
Chucky
just
versus
that-
Hellraiser or whatever.
Yeah,
They had
they
of
have
other
a
stuff.
bunch of them where they do crossovers, and they're really cool crossovers too.
Look at Andy over there freaking out because of Chucky. Look at that shit.
But yeah, our Torn Reels host does not like Chucky.
Dude, we went to the haunted house where a fucking 6-foot Chucky popped out of the door, and he was like, ah! Like it was.
But
it was
who
great. It was the
wouldn't
greatest
like?
thing.
Who wouldn't cry?
No, I know, I get it, but it popped out right at him, and I whispered in his ear, "I'm so sorry, man. I didn't know this was gonna happen to you."
We were at what is it? We went to one of the horror houses that were at the Universal Studios.
Whorehouses.
Oh yeah, they're everywhere. over there.
Damn, bro. No, that's where we went to the Hollywood Horror Nights.
The horror, yeah, ours wasn't in October though. They were doing like the sets. So
Oh,
they were
shit.
going through everything. The first one was actually really cool. So when we went through the actual haunted house, they had the special effects that they use for a lot of their movies set up so that they could show you how they do those on top of that. And like no matter if you saw it coming, the pop out is what got you. So I got scared by like a ghost girl that was like running by,
Yeah.
and then she popped out of the corner and I was like, "Oh my god."
Bro, the
But-
staff over there at fucking Universal Studios, they fucking hate me, bro. They will do everything in their power to try to scare me, get close
Dog,
to
that's
me, and I'm just
90% of the population. You're going to have to fucking
I hate you. I hate you.
Oh.
But okay, what are your concerns about this whole franchise thingy?
So here's the thing, right?
Mm.
You have like everyone that does it, right? We talked recently about like how Dungeons and Dragons do it, where they oversaturate and just completely destroy the fandom just to kind of break off chunks for profit.
right.
When you come down to it, that's what kind of they do with when they start creating these own universes. It's a way for a lot of companies to kind of give that cash grab. My concern is that they do it with so much that there's no longer a reason to kind of follow into these fandoms or anything, because you're just like, oh, you know what? Unless I'm gonna go like balls to the walls and buy fucking plushies, there's no reason for me to do it. Like Friday the 13th, there's a lot of products that are already out there, even products that aren't brought to you by like fucking big names. So it's like, yeah, it's saturated already, but imagine now that you have those same products that are brought to you directly from like Horror Inc. Branded, and it's like, okay, cool. So now I got to pay $50 for something that I used to pay $10 for.
Well, it's the same thing with A, everything, but B, didn't Evil Dead just do that?
Did Evil Dead just do
Yeah,
that?
they
Hold
just
on.
they just revitalized their franchise with the popularity of Evil Dead Rise. They're coming out with new movies too, and even Bruce Campbell, who said that he did not want to be a part of it anymore, like acting wise, is now coming back and being Ash again.
Oh man, that's just because I remember the Evil Dead Rise coming out. I remember being like,
Because so many people theorize that they're in separate universes, and it wasn't until recently that Bruce Campbell and all them were like, no, it's all in one universe. There's just 3 Necronomicons.
Well, that makes sense. It's just I would have to see them all to kind of do all the plot holes and stuff like that. That's the one thing that I can't say is that like, hey, I've seen every single Evil Dead in order to combat that. I've seen a couple of them. I've watched the show. You know, I've gone so far as to be like, hey, look, I know who those actors are and where they come from.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where it's like I can't really speak professionally or even unprofessionally on something that I don't fucking know. It'd be stupid for me to be like, well, Evil Dead is different. If they're doing the same thing, then yeah, it's a cash grab, bro. They're fucking, which really hurts because I actually am a huge fan of Bruce Campbell.
Oh,
Like,
I love Bruce Campbell.
He's one of my favorite like actors like out there, man. It's
I don't
wild.
think from what I read on that one and from the Friday the 13th franchise that we're talking about, they're not going to redo it so much for the money. They're redoing it for the horror effect.
They're doing it for the horror effect. And I get it, like
Because
words
if
are
you
words
notice-
until they're action, but they've also already started that prequel. So what could turn it from being like, hey, this is an honest, actual like thing that they're
the
doing.
the campiness. Because think about it, if you do Evil Dead, if we use those in comparison, if you do Evil Dead Rise and Evil Dead from 2013,
Yeah.
took away all of the campiness. There was no,
Okay.
I mean, the blood was cheesy, stuff like that. Maybe the catch lines were a little cheesy, but it wasn't cheesy. It wasn't like Ash versus Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2 or Evil Dead Army of Darkness.
Yeah,
I'm not
they
counting
didn't-
number 1 because number 1 is just a number 2 again.
Oh,
It's
number
the same
2
one.
was number 1 again.
Yeah, number 2 was number 1 again.
Which they did like admit to, like it was like he went back, but like in order for them to keep it like all the way through canon with Army of Darkness, they were like the first time it did this, the second time it did this, now it did this, and it was like so all 3 of those are canon in the Evil Dead universe.
Yeah, clearly
was
Bruce
like-
Campbell didn't understand what it meant not to fuck
Yeah,
with the
it's
Necronomicon.
weird that you can just be like, you know what? I'm gonna go back to that same spot that tragically happened. Like fucking trauma just doesn't exist.
Tyler's whole life. Anyway, but the point is the same thing with same thing with
By the way, happy to have you, Gintech.
same thing with Jason Voorhees' universe. They're supposed to be making it scary. Like from what I heard, Jason's not gonna walk. Jason's not just gonna like fucking robotically walk and catch up to you. Like he's actually gonna run. Like he's actually gonna be maniacal.
I don't like
he's
the-
actually gonna like run after you and try to like fucking capture you. And shit.
I don't like the running. I actually think that like he needs to be the slow moving.
But that
and-
doesn't make sense.
I hear what you're saying, like because
you?
when you have something that moves really fast, your body reacts.
No,
like that.
also he's a guy that lives out in the lake.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I just people in general who live out in nature don't just walk robotically. They don't just
To be
waddle
fair,
away.
he's not really alive in nature. He just kind of exists.
He is alive in nature.
He keeps dying, dude. I don't know.
He keeps dying, but this is not the same thing.
Like, I don't think the running thing is the way to go. You did the running thing when you rebooted Friday the 13th the first time, and it was not great.
Which one? Which one did they do the running?
Oh,
thing?
is the one with man, what the fuck is his name from? He played Sam from. Oh man, he played Sam from Supernatural.
I hate
It was
Supernatural.
Friday the. It was like Friday the 13th.
Oh, the one with the big tit girl that got hung upside down in the fucking sleeping bag.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that was a
Yeah.
great movie.
It wasn't that great. Actually.
It was so
not-
many titties, bro. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, there were titties.
yeah, that's what made the
That's a
movie
great. That's a great like argument to have. There's a lot of titties in that movie, but
Hey.
like
Hey, if you complain, you're gay. Go ahead. There you go. Anyway, so moving on. So the next, I'm saying that I think that the running thing would be more acceptable because it's a wilderness guy. He's not gonna be exactly like.
he's not a wilderness guy though. He is someone who is cursed and
What do you
he
mean? How is he
lives-
not a wilderness guy?
he doesn't like actually live there. He's not like fucking hunting and surviving there.
Oh,
What-
you think he just casually goes up the
He
street
doesn't
to a
need to-
Motel 6?
Dude, he doesn't
Like, after-
he doesn't fucking eat. He's an unstoppable machine. He's the personification of punishment.
The idea is that because you're still thinking about the old franchise, in this reboot, it's gonna be Jason alive. In number 2, he's alive. He doesn't
Oh,
die until
shit.
number 4.
He doesn't die until number 4. That's right. Where Jason dies, and then number 5, it's Jason lives.
Yeah. He
Yeesh.
literally doesn't die until number 4.
And then 5 other fucking movies, he doesn't die.
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't die until number 4. So when he's in number 2, he's scavenging. He has to eat. He has to fucking hunt. He's not
Yeah,
going up
that's
to the
right, that's right,
fucking
that's right,
La
okay.
Quinta in a fucking suburb outside of Camp Crystal Lake. You know what I mean? He's not staying at a fucking Royale Inn.
Imagine, though.
You know what I mean?
You're just like, hey, you remember that customer that's like drenched in blood? Should we report that?
Can you imagine, like, after he just walks in casually into a Red Roof Inn, just hangs up his mask? It's been a long day. Just fucking puts his machete by the door. It's like, no, bro, he's out in the wilderness.
It's like
he's in a stick hut.
Takes his boots off. He's like, oh my God.
It has been a day.
It
Just like
has
taking
been-
off all the
and then-
cap water from his fucking.
He's just
boot and
sitting there,
shit.
turns on MASH.
Why is he watching MASH? Wait, hang on, stop. I'm upset that he's watching MASH. Why is he watching MASH?
Dude, MASH is always on. It's always on everywhere.
Are you like 89? How do you always watch?
Why? What? First of all, fucking take 2 steps back from my ass.
You have streaming services. How are you still watching MASH on the Weather Channel?
I am not watching MASH. I don't watch MASH. My parents watch.
only
MASH, and
only
that's-
the people that watch MASH know about MASH.
My parents watch MASH.
I.
My parents watch MASH. I just happen to be in the room, and I'm just like, why the fuck is this show still on? Because
Hey,
it's
Aaron,
wild.
Aaron, I think you need to go because right now the local on the 8th is about to start.
Yeah, all right, bitch. All right, bitch. I see you.
Tyler's over here like, I watch some other channel, bitch. At dinner time? Wow. You I can see him with his little fucking TV tray. I'm watching Jeopardy. Alex, it's this one. No, but like in this universe, I think you have to go back and think about the fact that Jason was
Right, we're talking prequels.
Yeah.
We're not talking like
after
what
he dies.
he's
We'll see
in.
what happens afterwards.
Yeah, because then if they did that, then it would be like, hey, dude, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Yeah.
So
Actually, funny thing, do you know how hilarious it is in the original timeline where Jason goes to hell? At the end of it, when you see Freddy Krueger's claw and he grabs the fucking mask and drags it underneath.
yeah,
You know, it was so funny. They did that and got sued because it was just a Halloween costume, and they weren't like, what is it? The people who created Nightmare on Elm Street were like, hey, don't fucking use Freddy in the fucking Friday the 13th because we're not gonna fucking go with it. And they were like, fuck it, we're gonna do Freddy versus Jason, and they fucking did it and they dragged it down. And the guys from Nightmare on Elm Street were like, hey, what the fuck? We just told you not to do that. And then they were suing them until the Infinifilms that
Yeah.
was by Michael Franchese, the mob guy,
yeah.
was like, hey, we're gonna do this film, and they're like, I mean, or we're gonna die. Okay, yeah, we'll do the movie. Like, I guess.
Well, like one of the things is that there was a big controversy about it because there was New Line Cinema, who owned both of those franchises, were like, hey, we should cross this, right?
New Line Cinema was owned by the mobster, Michael Franchese.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
what I'm saying. He owned New Line Cinema, and New Line Cinema produced both Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street.
No, Nightmare on Elm Street was Infinifilm.
Was it?
It was Infinifilm, my guy.
I could swear to God.
No, bro, I'm pretty sure it's Infinifilm.
Hey, Gintech, could you
Look that up? I'm
look
pretty sure
that up?
it's
Because if it
Infinifilm.
was in both, then there shouldn't be a problem with it, right?
No, because you could still create like and not have the copyrights of the other one. Because
Mm.
Infinifilm, or I'm sorry, even if you do, what was the other one? Infinifilm and then
New Line Cinema?
New Line Cinema.
Because I
If it
remember
was
New Line Cinema was Friday the 13th. Like they had.
Yeah, no, they were New Line
full
Cinema,
on.
yeah. But it's New Line as well? Oh, okay.
So I think what it was is that the character rights was what they were fighting over within New Line Cinema.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening is that they wanted a scene at the end of it where they were still fighting in hell.
Well, think
And-
about it. United Artists doesn't own Rocky or
Yeah.
or Lincoln Hawk for Over the Top.
No,
You know what I mean?
no,
They
no,
don't
no.
own 'em.
They don't. They don't. I wouldn't want to see Rocky fight Rocky though. That's wild.
It's like every other movie, though.
But yeah, pretty much.
Rocky fighting against old age.
Yeah, Rocky fighting senility. What is it?
Can you imagine Rocky versus Bruce Willis? They're both facing the opposite corners. Anyway, sorry. Aw, Bruce Willis only has. Bruce Willis is missing a tooth. Yippee ki he doesn't remember the rest. Anyway,
Oh
so
my god. So back to the story. So
I'm sorry.
So New Line Cinema owned both of these, and they were just getting the rights to the characters, right? And then what ended up happening is that in the original script, there was supposed to be an ending where Jason and Freddy were fighting both in hell,
Right.
and then Hellraiser showed up.
Yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I probably am, but New Line Cinema also had Hellraiser. But they couldn't, between all three of those, getting those three licenses together, they were just like...
Because then Hellraiser went to Twisted Pictures.
Yeah, Hellraiser went to Twisted Pictures.
Yeah.
They basically were just like, the people who created Hellraiser was like, no, we don't want any part of this.
Yeah.
And they flat out said no, and then they just kind of like left it and kind of ended it where it was.
Yeah, because they were going to include Hellraiser. Then Hellraiser backed out. Then they were going to include Leatherface.
Yeah.
And Leatherface, like, they were like, this is not believable. You have Friday on Elm Street, which looks like what is it? No, Friday on Elm Street. Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th.
Basically where it was, bro.
Friday the 13th, where it looks like it was shot in fucking Seattle. And then you have Nightmare on Elm Street, which looks like it was shot in fucking like Upper Ridgetown, California. And then you have Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's like, you're clearly in the desert. We know the difference. Like, we can tell the difference.
It's weird.
How do you have
all
moss in
three
your
of these
area?
fucking climates just converge.
And no tornadoes? I don't believe it.
That's fucking weird. That's wild. But
But
they were trying to kind of like get a lot of these films to kind of
yeah,
do what they were doing in a popular game, Dead by Daylight. They actually managed to merge a lot of these games together.
great game.
And so what ended up happening is
Great
is
game.
that as they introduced more and more like horror icons, you sort of get that matchup. The thing that I think is really important when you look at like their own universes
Was
is
the
that
fact that me and Andy got banned from that fucking game for being actual serial killers on the game. You can't just stick around the dead body. That's literally how killers operate. What do you mean? The idea is to kill you, not to fucking play fucking COD with
I
you.
fucking God.
Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Serial killers hunt. Serial killers stalk and
Yeah.
then kill.
Serial killers wait for your blonde ass to trip with your tits out, and then we cut off your head. Like, facts. Anyway, keep going.
Damn. No,
Damn.
but that's the thing is that like it can a lot of the crossovers and stuff like that they do with these things are planned because they're originally inside their own space.
Right.
Do you think that they're going to reboot the Nightmare on Elm Street series to go with this and have that crossover later on?
Well, the Nightmare on Elm Street reboot is already being done. It's already being
I
done.
missed that article.
Yeah, it's supposed to be with Robert Englund. They're doing that one with him.
Oh no, I remember you saying this that they were doing another one and Robert Englund is reprising his role.
Yeah, he's supposed to be reprising his role.
Did-
I don't
when
know
was that
how
supposed to come
long.
out?
Huh?
When was that supposed to come out?
I have no clue when it's supposed to come out. I only knew that it was in production,
'Cause,
and
like,
I don't
he-
know how much of his character he's actually going to do. They said that he was going to come back in, but they didn't officialize if it was going to be as his character or if he was just going to be like a producer,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're going to have another Freddy for him to coach the other Freddy.
I
or
wonder
what's
if
gonna
they're
happen.
going to do like a prequel series like they're doing with Crystal Lake because I feel like if they do that series just like that, where they show the leading up to, it's going to be a lot harder.
Very bad timing and very bad choice of what I'm about to say. But I really, really, really hope if they redo the
They pick Drake.
no, shut up. If they redo the oh my god, the Nightmare on Elm Street, I want them to show before he turns to like Freddy Krueger, like the
Right.
nightmare
you wanna
demon.
you want to see the actual like crimes happening and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I want to see the bad end of the little shit and all that stuff. Like I want to see those moments where
We're
where-
fucking canceled. We're fucking done.
I want to see those moments where he's being accused of that shit, and like it shows him working at the school and all that shit.
I think if they redo it, they should stick with that theory that the mom is actually the serial killer.
I would want them to do it where he's actually innocent.
That's what I'm saying. Where the mom is the serial killer.
No. The mom's not the serial killer.
Oh.
There's no serial killer. There is Freddy Krueger and then the kids that lied, and make it to where the kids lied, and they kill Freddy, and he's like, all right, now I'm gonna fuck everybody up. That would be a hilarious fucking storyline.
Huh? Maybe.
I think that's what they did in the reboot with fucking Steve Nash, or the guy that played Rorschach.
Yeah.
He looked like Steve Nash.
But then they found out that he actually was doing that shit.
Yeah, he found
and
that
they
he
were
was
like,
actually
so
doing
he's
it.
not innocent. And so like the whole theory was like they were going through trying to like defend him while he was murdering them, which kudos to you guys for being retarded because that's exactly how it happens.
Yeah.
Like he's like, I'm just murdering you all because your parents accused me, and it was like they were like he was innocent and we're gonna prove it so he stops killing us. It's like
Probably
that's not how that fucking works, my guy.
He's
I don't
probably
know if
guilty.
you-
I
don't know.
would love that twist though, where it has him before, and then all of a sudden he's accused, and then they kill him, and then everything, and then all of a sudden the kids go through the whole thing where they're trying to figure out what's going on, and then it shows flashbacks where he's actually fucking doing like it turns out that it was actually a real thing,
Yeah.
like he was actually like a pedophile and they killed him for that reason. I
Yeah.
think that shit would be dope.
So let's kind of circle back to Friday the 13th and the Jason universe here.
Right.
What would be some things that you want to see in this Camp Crystal Lake series, and then the overall kind of like franchise as it expands? So like start off like what would you think would be a dope thing to introduce in Camp Crystal Lake?
So not just the fact that Jason runs. I like the fact that Jason runs, the fact that he moves around like stealthily and all that stuff. I would also like for him to show it without the mask. Hear me out.
So you just want to see Quasimodo with a fucking machete.
in a way. But I want him to follow quarantine rules. I want him to have to where like he sees his mom get his head chopped off and everything, and he's like disgruntled and like he's an asshole. He's getting upset and everything. He breaks into a house, grabs like a random hoodie, grabs like fucking like one of those fucking rags and
Well,
shit.
they
puts
originally
around his
had it where
face.
he had just a bag over his
The
head.
potato sack. Yeah.
Yeah.
They got it off of the same story of the strangers, but I want him to have it to where like he has like a bandana on his face, and he's killing a few people there until he finds his mask, and then he grabs it and he puts it the fuck on.
You think that would be like the end of like season 2 finale where he finds the mask?
Yeah, or the beginning of season 2.
Yeah, because like end of season 1, she's got to die.
Well,
Like, end of season 1 has got to be when those first campers start showing up from the first movie.
I think with this show you need to do it like you did with Walking Dead. You need to have a mid-season finale where she like if she dies, do the mid-season finale where she dies, and then have it to where Jason comes back and he's all older. He has the handkerchief. They beat the shit out of him and he's fucked up. And then like at the end, you do one of those cheesy little spoilers where he's like on the ground and all of a sudden you just see his hand move and he's like reaching and he reaches for the mask and he grabs it and he sees the mask and he just like brings it to himself.
That'd be a cool fucking way to kind of go about it.
It's still cheesy enough to where like, oh, he still survived, but it's like
One of the things that I do want to see, because I know that they're planning on making it more horror, but I do want it to kind of keep that campiness. Because I just love the fact that like it's the same trope in almost every movie where you're just like, that bitch is gonna die, that bitch is gonna die, he's gonna die, and then you're just like, okay, cool. And then you see the creative ways that they do it. Like, what is it? There was one that like he grabbed the girl and like put her head through the fucking like wall on an RV, and you're just like, holy shit.
yeah, I want it like that, but I don't want it like campy. Like
you don't
that.
want them to be like where they're just like, hey guys, let's go have fun, gang, and like kind of go about it
Like-
that way. You just
Like you want to know a death that I imagine in my head for like one of these shows, where one of the campers or one of the not the campers, the counselors, since they're the older people, they're the adults
Yeah.
and everything, have one of the camp counselors just like blowing the other one, and all of a sudden like Jason comes up and just stabs her through the back of the head and then just fucking kicks both of them off. That would be a fucking dope ass kill. I'll be like, oh shit, wait a minute. And he just fucking wrecks shit. He just stabs her through the back of the head and just and pulls her off and then just fucking goes at the other guy while he's fucking screaming.
yeah, because I mean, like there was
That'd
that
be dope
there
as
was
shit.
that scene. I think it was in like the second one or the third one or some shit like
With
that.
Kevin
where
Bacon?
where he just like takes the actual like fucking what is it, like the iron rod, and just fucking puts it through both of them.
Yeah, that was Kevin Bacon's scene.
Oh, that was Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
Kevin
yeah,
Bacon's.
fucking,
He's
that's wild.
underneath the bed and they're fucking and he just goes and he just stabs him through like shish kebabs.
Yeah, that was one of those. There was a lot of cool shit that like really
Shishka humans.
happened throughout the entire series, and I love the campiness of it because you're just like, holy shit, what's going on? And you're just like, yeah, Jason's fucking killing him. Why is it taking you guys so long to figure this
Yeah.
shit out?
Like one of the
Like,
best kills
know
that
what?
was in
Pause, because let me ask you, when the police in every fucking horror movie, what the fuck why are they so ineffective? Like, they are the most, like, every procedure that they're just like, yeah, we don't give a fuck. Like, they're just people dying. They're not, like, roping shit off.
I would love it if instead of him being like super deformed, he doesn't look as bad. He just looks like he might be like slower or anything like that. And then have him like
You just want, like, the drool coming out and
yeah,
shit. And he's
like
just
like a little bit of tism, like I can shoot a gun correctly, but I can't do maths well.
yeah, like,
you know what I
he's
mean?
just like, he's just like, you know what? I'm kind of normal, but for breakfast, I eat, like, crayons.
Kinda.
Yeah, I get you.
Like I would like it to where
Like,
it has a scene
he
at
farts
the
in the
end,
bathtub and laughs at the bubbles.
like where it has a scene where you have the fucking cop come up and ask about what's going on in Crystal Lake, and since he only like
Jason's all like, blah, 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 blah.
no, like he's trying to explain it to him, and the cops don't suspect him because he's obviously special needs. So they're like, "Oh, okay, cool. You're just trying to help us out." And then as soon as they leave, he just turns around and just keeps walking like almost normal.
They're just like, bless your heart, you little angel.
Yeah, dude. Like the same thing with the strangers when they went up to those Mormon kids and they're like, "There's a bunch of people dead." It's like, shouldn't you be there? Anyway.
Here's a lollipop and a crayon. Just go color something.
But that's the point. He's special needs. Am I wrong?
And he's a grown ass man at that time.
He has an eye on his forehead. What did you want me to do?
He's just sitting there.
He literally has an eye on his forehead. I never
You
understood.
poor deformed little angel.
No, I never understood the fucking Red Wings mask. His eye is up here. How does he have two eyes here? Like he has an eye up here.
I mean, like after a couple deaths, I'm sure he can just kind of move it, you know?
Yeah, like you just contort your face after a few rottings.
Yeah.
Like I just never got that. It's like when he was alive and he put on the mask, I was like, you can't see out of that. There's no way.
The fucking police officer's just like, hey, can someone get a drill guard over here? He's trying to explain what's going on
No, but I'm serious. I think
through an interpretive dance.
I think that type of stuff. I think that type of stuff would be good for this new like world
Yeah.
where you can explain it, where it looks more menacing, more like it's way over the top. Like for me, I would love it to where they did the trope where you have the main female character
Right.
and she dies like in the first fucking scene.
That'd be
dope
would
as shit.
definitely I definitely don't want them to change a lot of like the tropes and stuff like that. And it's not just like an old generation thing that's,
It is an old
that's
generation
speaking.
thing.
I think that like you get that value from it by doing stuff like that. Because I mean, like when you try to change too much at once, I'm not saying change it, don't ever change it. I'm saying don't change it all at once. Start it off where it's like kind of campy, kind of like get in, and then start gritting it down, darkening it down, getting to that point.
Yeah. How did you like the Halloween revised by Rob Zombie?
I actually really liked it.
Did you really?
I really did.
That's a horrible movie.
You know
They were
what?
all horrible movies.
I won't lie to you. I actually am a Rob Zombie movie film fan.
I am too.
And like the Halloween series.
But the thing is that you like him because it's Rob Zombie attached. Because
it wasn't so much that, and I'll kind of explain why.
Lords of Salem was a better movie than fucking Halloween. And Lords of Salem sucked a big fat load.
Lords of Salem sucked a big dick. Like
Yeah.
that's true. So did 3 from Hell.
Yeah, 3 from
But-
Hell too.
I'll tell it to you the reason why I didn't like so much. I didn't like it so much in the essence that I didn't like the sequel to Halloween, the second one, so much. I liked the first one where they kind of showed the background of the kid kind of becoming that Michael Myers mentality. And then like as he just turned out to be a big fucking dude murdering the fuck out of people.
Like, okay, the thing that hang on, before we get into that, what black guy dies first in the fucking movie?
Oh, the trope. There's like a trope that the black guy dies first. in every
Oh,
horror
the
movie.
trope. Okay, I'm sorry.
Like
I'm sorry.
there's, and
Which is funny. There's a trope of that, but in Night of the Living Dead, he's the one that slaps that bitch. Greatest scene. But
not
he
just
slaps
that.
that bitch.
He's in the original movie. He survives.
And he survives.
Yeah, she becomes the zombie.
Yeah, exactly. That bitch deserved to be slapped. Anyway, the
Dude,
point
she
is,
kept fucking screaming.
yeah, it's like you're not helping.
Yeah,
You're making
he's
it
sitting here
worse.
trying to figure shit out, and you're over here like acting like a complete fucking insane bitch. Like,
I don't know. I don't think the tropes. I don't think the tropes are good. But here's the thing: because you're older generation, you like all those cheesy ones. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I like those cheesy films too. I like the cheesy films, the cheesy horror films of the fucking slasher and all that shit. That's my bag. That's my bag because I'm also a gore porn addict. I mean, a gore horror porn addict. You know what I mean?
I would.
like,
There's
I-
no recanting on that, dog. Clear your browser.
No. Like Evil Dead. Like I like that. I like the fact that it's like gore porn. Like it's literally like ripping off heads. Fucking.
Oh, you like the
all
like
that
the
shit.
yeah,
Like
you like
gory
the
shit,
gore,
yeah.
you like the fucking body horror and shit like that.
Yeah. Like the song of the hands. Like one of my favorite scenes in Saw was where in fucking
Man, when
there.
he's sawing off the leg and shit.
No,
like that.
where she's sawing off her arm with the fucking hatchet, where she has the fucking drill and she's like and she's like cutting
See,
it off.
I can't do
Favorite
I can't
scene.
do the
Favorite
fucking
fucking
torture
scene.
movies. I can't.
Favorite
Those are the
fucking
ones that
scene.
I can't fucking do.
Favorite scene. The rack in Saw 3. Favorite fucking scene. He's being turned around and the neck is protruding. Oh my god, beautiful scene.
Anyway.
Immaculate. But that's what I'm saying. I like that stuff, but I don't like the tropes of like the girl falling. Like, don't get me wrong. As much as I like titties, as much as the next guy, I have a set of my own. I don't like seeing them all the time in the fucking camera. I don't like seeing them all the time. Like,
No, that's
after a
not
while, you're
what
just
I'm
like,
saying.
oh
I'm
my
not-
God, they're having sex again.
I'm not saying like, oh yeah, keep all that shit, keep it all.
Yeah.
Like obviously there's some point where that does come into play.
Yeah.
Because like you have to have the fucking teens that are up on their hormones
Yeah, of course.
in that camp before they start, because they're making bad decisions. They're doing drugs. They're giving into peer pressure, all that shit. But the trope that I'm saying is that the people that are stumbling and falling and shit like that, or like the fact is that like, you know, he takes a pair of like fucking head shears and shoves it through somebody's head. That's the kind of campiness
Yeah.
that fucking needs
Yeah.
to continue.
That stuff I think should be good because in number 4 when he takes his machete and he stabs the fucking dude in the wheelchair, great scene.
Great scene.
He pulls it out and the guy literally
Great
rolls
scene.
off
I think that was
the
actually
fucking.
was that 4 or was
Yeah,
that
it was 4.
That was 4, yeah, because they just introduced Tommy.
He falls off off the staircase and you can see the little dummy mannequin that they have just.
Yeah,
It's
that's the
fucking
kind
hilarious,
of
bro.
campiness
I
that
was
I think
fucking
they should keep, but they should start really gritting it down on top of that. So
Yeah.
like at first,
Yeah,
campiness is
absolutely.
fine because you're doing prequels, right? You're getting
Right.
in there, and then all of a sudden, as you start getting more towards like the serious shit where it comes later in the season, start really making it like people aren't just like it's not just him; they're turning on each other too. It's getting darker. It's getting darker.
Yeah.
Like like at some point, I think they need to kill off a pregnant lady because that's exactly how it fucking should go. Like
Stab her right in the baby.
and then some.
I
Like
agree.
give the people what they want, but also don't be afraid to give the people what they used to have.
You don't want to give me what I want because if I get what I want, the girl from Evil Dead dead. She dies. She gets strangled horribly and thrown because she unlocked the fucking door like a stupid bitch.
Listen, Sean, we can't go back on this one.
We can go back
can't-
on this one
I can't let you circle back on this.
after you
Not
said gore
just-
porn.
Not just because of the gore porn, not just because of the fact that you spent an hour on Torn Wheels talking about it,
Half an hour.
but because of the fact that we'll probably circle back to Evil Dead later on in another
Yeah, probably.
podcast. But this is a good stopping point for us here. What we want to know is what you guys think and what you guys feel about the Jason universe. Shoot us some messages. If not,
Anything?
then don't fucking talk to us. We don't care.
Yeah, just keep watching.
Yeah.
Bye, bitches.
Later.